Good evening, folks. It's Carl here. As I mentioned in my email to you guys earlier in this week, this will be our last session. It was slated as a revision session, but when I looked at it, I thought it would probably be better used as a overview of the summative assignment. So we can have a look at what we need to do there, how we need to do it, and also because we have this, I want to call it an extra session. It's also because it's the summative is always important. It gives you an opportunity to ask me questions in a live session rather than just listen to a recording. Okay, so here we go. So what's this about? Need to do it, have it in by the 18th of June. So we've got a good 2 weeks, 3 weeks to go. So you've got a bit of time to work on it. A lot of thinking to be done in this assignment, a lot of reflection to be done. So start working on it sooner rather than later. I'm not sure what the rest of your program looks like. Some of you might be busy finishing off your research projects and so on as well. I think the due date for that's the 9th. So yeah, let's see what you can do around this. So remember the late is late rule. Please don't hand in a day late and lose that 15%. I've seen so many people that really do badly because of losing the 15%. Plan it. We've got enough time. Plan it. Make sure you put the effort in before the time so that you can claim your full marks. There are 3 questions, a 50 mark, a 20 mark, and a 30 mark question. Also make sure that you submit it to Turnitin so that you can see if there's any plagiarism problems or anything kicks back. And then if things go pear-shaped, screenshot it with the time, log a ticket, email me only afterwards. Remember, I can't do anything for you in that evening. The guys at the online campus are the guys to contact. So drop them an email, speak to them rather than speaking to me. As I say, it's good that I know there was a problem. I can try to follow up, but I can't take any actions. Referencing, in-text reference list, direct quotes, all of that stuff, very important. Make sure you get it spot on. At postgraduate level, at this point, there shouldn't be any mistakes. Make sure also that you have enough sources. At the postgraduate level, I normally say to students, look, 10 to 15 sources minimum is what you want to use. And then the AI declaration thing, if you use, and I haven't really had problems with this group so far, but if you're going to use AI to help you with anything, you must declare it, right? So the rule simply says, if you don't declare AI and you've used AI, you are in trouble. So have a look at how to declare it if you're going to use it. I don't think there's much here in this assignment that I will trust AI with. There are things to use AI with. I, for instance, in my research, use AI quite regularly to summarize articles and so on. For me, I use things like Notebook AI. Notebook LM. It's quite good at summarizing articles and finding related articles and so on. So I use that quite extensively, but I don't use AI to write at all. Using AI to write anything is really, really dangerous, but it's a handy research tool, and it allows you to get through a lot of work very quickly. Notebook LM specifically, I'm actually considering paying the subscription to get a more extensive version of it. But it doesn't write at all. It only helps you with your research. Any case, but so make sure if you do it, use any form of AI. And guys, even these tools like Grammarly. Grammarly is an AI tool. So what's going to happen is you're going to use Grammarly because you are an English second language speaker, as I am, and your was and wers and is and ahs might not always be the right way around. So you use Grammarly to fix that for you. The AI detector is going to pick that up. If you don't declare the use of Grammarly, you have a problem. So please make sure that you do. And I don't have a choice. When I see AI picked up and there's no AI declared, I must report. So please make sure that you do the AI declaration thing. Okay, enough fun and games. Let's get into the real stuff. So there's 3 questions, as I say. Question 1 is 50, question 2 is 20, question 3 is 30. So the first question is a comparison between a public and a private higher education institution in meeting the goals and purposes of the Higher Education Act. So I'm going to go into details of each of these questions, but overview of the question: identify a public, identify a private, look at the policies, look at the procedures, compare them and see how they meet or do not meet the goals and purposes of the Higher Education Act. Question 2, which I think should have been the big question, but it's only 20 marks, a comparison of leadership styles available in higher education institutions. So go look at leadership styles, and when they say available, it means that can be utilized. And let's face it, you can utilize any style almost, and you need to do a comparison between those and see what the advantages, disadvantages, what works, what doesn't work, why does it work, why doesn't it work. And then question 3, evaluate the management of quality at South African higher education institutions against international trends. And we'll use the Times Higher Education Supplement for that. And we'll have a look at what they say about South African institutions, and that'll be our departure point. So those are the 3 questions that you need to deal with. Let's have a bit of a more of a detailed look at these questions. So question 1 is the comparison between a public and a private higher education institution in meeting the goals and purposes of the Higher Education Act. So what you need to do is go find a public, go find a private. Be very careful. If you work for one of these institutions, a public or private, you may be privy to information that's not public information. So you might want to consider which information you want to use in your assignment. Be clever about this. Don't disclose information that is not public knowledge. I've even in the past, and I'm not always sure if this is good advice or not, but I'll tell you what I've said to students in the past, and this is to not use your own institution. Immediately, if you don't use your own institution, you remove any bias. It's also then, by the same token, probably don't use an institution you've studied at. If you feel your alma mater is a really great university and so on, you're going to be biased. So maybe not use that. But go find a public, go find a private. And what you want to do is you want to scratch around on their websites and see what policies and procedures are they sharing. So many of these institutions will share quite a lot of their procedures on their website for students to be able to see them. And that's exactly what we want to do. We want to get our grubby paws on those things so that we can have a look and see what they're doing. So once you've identified these, so the first thing is do a little intro, do a preamble of the Act, and keep in mind there's stacks of amendments to that Act. So try to find the most recent version of the Act. I think it's the one I uploaded. If I remember correctly, I uploaded it at the beginning of the semester. But go look at what the Act, what is the intention of the Act, right? So, and that's your starting point. So this is what the Act does. Then you've got these 2 institutions, and you give a brief overview of them. Guys, don't write the family history. Give an overview of what they are, what they do, just so that there's some kind of a context, you know. This is a traditionally white university. They amalgamated with this black university. They predominantly focus on this areas, and they seem very strong in this and weaker in that. And then you move on to the other institution, to the private institution. And you say when they were started, what do they do, the type of courses they do, have they got multiple campuses, are they one campus, do they focus on one specific thing, or do they focus on many different broader things? But as I say, not the family history. You don't have to do pages and pages, just a short and sharp thing about them. Then you need to find their policies and procedures, and that's what I'm saying. Go scratch around first and make sure you choose ones where there's some sense of the policies and procedures that they follow, or some kind of policy statement or something that they say, this is what we stand for, this is what we do. So you have something on them. And you can reference their websites, and you can reference other people speaking about them. And then you simply say, so what is similar between the two institutions? Where do they overlap? And what are the differences? But that must be evidence-based. Now, what's interesting about this, in the assignment, they say you can use any format, right? So you can do whatever you want to there. And I encourage you to think a little bit creative and a little bit out of the box. If you are going to write, it'll be 5 to 6 pages, 11-point aerial, 1.5 spacing is instructions. But you are free to do whatever you want to do and present this information in whichever way you want to. And I encourage you to be creative about this. So that's question one. That's the biggie, right? Get that behind you, and it's downhill from there. You're sailing. So comparison of the leadership styles available in higher education. So don't just use 2, select 3, 4 styles. And the best way that I've found to do this is use a table. So create a table with the styles across the top, and on the left-hand side, put a column in where you put different criteria, comparison points to contrast, and then you simply fill in the columns or fill in the table. Once again, evidence-based, right? So write a little introduction, say, I'm going to look at these styles. You may briefly want to describe the styles in your introduction, or you can also in the first row of your table, make that row where you describe each style. And immediately then one will start seeing the contrast. Whatever you put on further, how you're going to compare them, that's up to you. There's no criteria specifically for what you have to compare them. But remember, always when you're thinking, because most of you, or you've all got different backgrounds, in your thinking, always think from a higher education perspective, right? So do that comparison in a higher education perspective. And then at the bottom, write a little conclusion and say, if we look at these, it's difficult to say this is the best style. And I'm one that I'm not too keen on the best style, because I like situational leadership, which means you do jump around between styles, depending on what the situation states. But say sort of in higher education, because of the type of setup it is, this style looks like it's appropriate, a more appropriate style, and this style looks like it's less appropriate. But then also you now jumping off the first question, one then also has to consider the type of styles. Are you talking about private or public higher education? Because public higher education in theory is there for the public good. Private higher education is there to make money. Now, how does your leadership style differ with those things? So just leaving that out there for you. And then the last question is evaluate the quality management at South African higher education institutions against international trends and in the Times Higher Education Supplement. So the THE is the Times newspaper brings out the THE annually, and they compare universities around the world. It's like the hit list of best universities. I think our best one comes in at 600 and something. Was it 300 and something? I can't remember. I haven't looked at it for a while. But it's normally Stellies, UCT, and WITS, I think, are the three that's normally the three high ones in South Africa. And they normally differ. They jump places up and down for the best university in South Africa. And then they compete as best universities in Africa itself. So the first thing that you need to do is you need to say, what does the Times Higher Education Supplement do? What does it measure? And then briefly discuss how South African universities rank. And then talk about, now we start talking, how do we measure quality in higher education? And how does our quality measure against the measurements internationally? That's about 4 pages for 30 marks. that's it, guys. So it's not a difficult assignment, but I do think it's an assignment that you need to apply your mind to. You need to think through things. You need to talk things through with yourself, and really reflect on this and think about it. It's not something that you can quickly just sit down and write. And I think you've noticed with many of the subjects on this course, it's not quick weekend writing. It's you might be able to write it in a weekend, but it might take you a couple of weeks of thinking before you write it. So, okay, guys, over to you. What are your questions? What do you want to know? What you're thinking about it? Do you feel this is going to be a fine, easy assignment? Do you think you're going to struggle? Let's hear from the floor. Sure, guys, let's not all go at once, eh?
Hi, Carol. Carol, I don't have any questions for now. I think now that you've put it in this framework, it does seem a lot easier to digest. Yeah, I think I'm good for now. If anything comes up, I will email you.
Great stuff. Thanks. Anybody else? Let me just check if there's anything in the chat. Doubt it. Yeah, nothing in the chat. Guys, that's it. I mean, I'm happy to be paid for 16 minutes of talking. If you don't want to talk to me any further, and you've got no further questions, but please do me a favor. And remember, guys, I give you a highlight package. There's Nawal. Go for it.
Hi there, Carol. I just wanted to know, is there any feedback on our formative assessment tool?
I'm still busy with them.
Okay.
Unfortunately, there's no feedback yet. And I'm not going to promise, but I'm hoping to finish them this weekend. You are a rather large group, and as you know from doing the assignments, they are not, it's not light music. It's rather heavy music. So it takes a bit of working through it. And also it's probably, and those of you that are in a lecturing position or that will be in a lecturing position, it's one of those things that I do badly. That's maybe a good thing to do it badly. I tend to think a bit longer about the how I evaluate these assignments to my undergrad assignments. I marked a undergrad group of entrepreneurship students the other day, 72 students. I got it the afternoon at about 4 o'clock, and I sat down and I marked it. I marked until 10, and I started 5 the next morning, and by breakfast time I was finished marking the 72 students because it's first year students. When it gets to postgraduate level and we're expecting you guys to think a bit further, I think it's unfair of me to not think further when I'm marking them. So I take a bit of time to contemplate what you're writing and think about your writing when I'm assessing. And unfortunately, the disadvantage of that, it takes time. I would much rather do it much quicker. But if I do it much quicker, then it doesn't do justice to the hard work that you've put in. So there's no sense in you putting in the hard work and I skimming over it. So long story, and that's my excuse why it takes so long to mark your work. So, but I'm hoping that by Monday it'll find it. Siyanda, I see your question about is it okay not to use a tabling question too. Siyanda, I've got to remember now, but as I recall, the instruction is actually to use a table. Now, it does get messy. I know from past years. Your best bet is if you can, where you start that table, and it's a bit tricky in Word, but you can figure it out, to landscape that section of the work. If you landscape that, it gives you more space to be able to do it. But if I recall correctly, and if I'm wrong, you're welcome to do it any which way, but as I recall, it's actually the instruction is to do it in a table format. So yeah, I'm always a bit hesitant to say to students, No, it's fine. Don't worry about a table, because this is an exit module, which means I will get moderated on it. And you know, sometimes I'm like, yeah, but that's a stupid instruction. And then I mark things that are not, but then when moderators come in, they sometimes are, no, that was the instruction. They set a table, it's a naught because it isn't in the table, which I think is a bit pedantic. But let's rather stick to the rules. So have a look at it, Sianda. If it doesn't give the instruction that it must be in a table, I don't mind. But as I recall, it says it is an instruction. And yeah, as I was saying, guys, remember this is an overview. So you must definitely go sit down, and I almost want to say to you, we're going to finish in the next couple of minutes, unless you have more questions. You should have put an hour out for tonight's session. Use the rest of this time, and then go read through the assignment so you know what it says, the actual assignment says, not just what Carl says it says. Mohammed, it's my recommendation not to use your own institution. You're welcome to use your own institution. I was just warning about the danger of using your own institution, of then possibly using stuff that are not public knowledge. That's the one danger. And the other danger is being biased because it's the institution that you work for or the institution that you've studied with. But you can use it. There's nothing that says you can't use it. Guys, anything else? Please go read the assignment. It's quite it's not a one-pager. It's quite a couple of pages. There's a long preamble to it and so on. But go read the whole assignment so that you can understand the nuances of the assignment. I think I've given a sense of the direction that I would go in and how I see it. But I think if you read it, you can say, okay, Carl said that. Carl, I understand why he's saying that, but I want to twist it this way. I want to come from this angle. And please remember something else with these things. And it's all these assignments. There's a question and you've got to answer the question, but the question hasn't got a right answer. It doesn't give you the styles that you've got to compare. It doesn't say what the elements are that you've got to compare. It allows you the scope to do your own thing. But remember, do your own thing based on reading, based on theoretical foundation, etc. Guys, I'm going to call it if there's no other questions. I'm happy to take questions for another hour, but if there's nothing, okay, please go read that assignment now. It's a good time to, you've got the time now, so please do that. Okay, guys, cheers. Good luck for those of you that are still handing in research, those of you that have got other finals going on, and good luck for this last one. I think given how you've done so far, I don't think we're going to have any problems, and that makes me very happy. Okay, guys, cheers. Keep well.
Thank you.
Bye.